This is the Nearly Enlightened podcast. I am your host, Gianna Giruso. If you're coming back and listening again, welcome back. If you have not listened before, today is a solo episode, but in the past, I've had really great guests on, and we talk about the connection to body, mind, and spirit. Each person has their own niche, and it's really just a resource for somebody who wants to dive deeper into this work of connection to body, mind, and spirit. And in the spirit of that, I also continue to do this work all the time and currently going through the break method. And I'm learning how to lead a 30-day self-study that I'm going to integrate into the work that I'm already doing. And also in the spirit of being under construction, my website has been under construction for 6-ish months, and it's something that I'm actively working on. Going to be launching 4 courses, one of which is my 30 days of meditation. And that is going to be such a great resource for somebody who wants to easily make meditation part of their everyday life, and who it might be like a little bit challenging for you to sit and allow yourself to do that. I know it's a challenge for me. It's something that I work on actively. A friend invited me yesterday to a breathwork and meditation workshop that was like a 3 hour long workshop. It was so informative. And there are so many different forms of meditation. So if just sitting and being doesn't work for you, there are plenty more options. There's mantra, there are mudras. Mantra is you say with your words, mudras, you make symbols with your hands or press points on your hands. There's shake meditation where it's literally like ecstatic dance. You're just like dancing and shaking around. So don't think you can't meditate. Everyone can meditate. There's a form of meditation for you. You just have to go out there and start trying to see what works for you. And I also went to Gong meditation today. And if you don't know anything about sound healing, if you haven't listened to the episode with Shelly Ohm, go back and listen to that episode. She beautifully tells us about what sound healing is and why it's useful. And again, if you're not somebody who can just sit and meditate in the quiet, it's a beautiful option for you. It's so amazing. The woman that I go to here in Scottsdale, she has like 14 gongs, like not even exaggerating. It's the most incredible room I've ever seen. And she just has a way of playing, of taking you in and out of the meditation and helping you to drop back into that space easily. It's just something you really have to go out and experience for yourself. And I like highly recommend that to anyone. The naysayers, it's great for. I've brought my brother and my cousins and one of my brother's friends, and they were like, whoa, that was so cool. That was like the best nap we ever took. And even if you get a great nap out of it, it's just such a great experience. The vibrations, like you can really feel them with you after. And yes, are human beings, but we are light frequencies. And that just helps to clear and raise our vibrations. And who wouldn't want more of that, really? So, without further ado, let's chat a little bit about some hot takes and unpopular opinions. So, something that's been coming up for me lately is astrology. And this is something that I used to be super into. And now I'm just seeing it as um, spiritual bypassing. And I say this in fear a little bit because I know it's going to be a radically unpopular opinion, but it's something that keeps coming through to me. And it's definitely a message from God. Uh, Part of the community that I go to, they talk about astrology and astronomy all the time, and what the planets are doing and the effect it's having and this and that. And 9 times out of 10, they're talking about it being chaotic energy. And I am a firm believer in what we speak out into the universe is like the vibration, it's the frequency that we get back. So if we're looking at this astrology, And we're saying that this astrology causes chaos. This astrology causes people to act a little crazy. This, whatever it is, if we're putting a negative connotation on it, then that's exactly the vibration that we're going to get back. And that's the lessons that we're going to be placed in, are like those chaotic energies. So the information that has been coming to me lately is that maybe we put too much emphasis on it in the spiritual world, and we actually use it to spiritually bypass. And this is going to be, again, like, this is going to be a wildly unpopular opinion. So I'm sorry if it's different than yours, and that's okay. Like, people can have a difference. I've said this before, but people can have differences of opinions, and we can have conversations about it without like getting our feathers ruffled. So this is just my opinion on this. But yeah, so I think we use it as a way to spiritually bypass. And the reason why I created Nearly Enlightened was to give people a platform that are actively working to not do that, because we're never going to be completely enlightened on this planet. However, we have to try. And I think that we use tools like astrology to spiritually bypass. There are people who are not doing this. Obviously, there are two astrologers that I really like, Colin Bedell, and his name is Anthony. I will tag their Instagram handles in the show notes, so just look out for that. They do a beautiful job of using astrology as an opportunity for deeper healing. And I think that that is a completely different story. But when we lean into the narrative that astrology causes chaos and craziness, then like that's just what we're going to attract. But if we use it as a way for deeper healing and opportunities for deeper healing, then that's what we're going to get back. So I think that it makes all the difference in the lens in which we're looking at it through. So that is today's hot take and unpopular opinion. And our second one is even, we're going to really go there even deeper. So what has also been coming to my attention lately is, on my Nearly Enlightened page, I don't talk about anything political. It's just strictly spiritual, body, mind, and spirit healing. On my personal page, I do talk about social issues. I talk about politics, and I talk about all those taboo things that people don't want to talk about. Like, growing up, like my grandmother would always say, you don't talk about two things at the dinner table: politics and religion. And here I am, we're talking about spirituality and politics. So pretty much the same thing. I always love to talk about those things that no one wants to talk about. So I think coming off of the election week, and still like there's a lot of unknown about who are going to be our next leaders, but I really feel like if more spiritual people don't start speaking up and sharing their opinion, then we're at a huge disadvantage, because taking spirituality out of politics, we took morality out of politics. I mean, I think I talk about it on the podcast with Danica. Like, we've really taken morality out of the whole world. And I want to do my part in helping put that back into the world. So yeah, I'm going to talk about these uncomfortable things that no one wants to talk about in a lens that maybe you don't agree with. And that's okay. I think that progress comes from people who have differing opinions coming together and having civil conversations. And that is how we find common ground and create progress. Like, without these uncomfortable conversations, like if we all had the same opinion, like what a boring, awful world that would be. So those are some hot takes and unpopular opinions. So if you're still listening, thank you for being here and listening with me, and just everyone who has listened, subscribed, shared, wrote a review, gave us 5 stars. Like, I am so grateful from the bottom of my heart. Like, I am creating this literally out of nothing. Like, I just had an idea that I wanted to have a platform to help people connect to body, mind, and spirit. But I also have so many amazing friends doing the same thing. And I wanted to help give them a platform for them to talk about the amazing work that they're doing to help people connect to their body, mind, and spirit as well. So I am right there with you. I'm always doing the spiritual work. Excuse me, taking a little sip. I don't know if it's going to pick up, but my cats are playing with the bell toy. So if you hear that, I apologize. I'm a one-man show. We're like creating this from scratch. I am under construction. The podcast is under construction. My website is under construction. It's okay to be in those spaces. I hope someday to have an audio team that can help me and make it the clearest, crispest, most awesome sound ever. But for now, thanks for bearing with me. Deirdre is a person who has come on the podcast in the past few episodes, and she is actually going to come back and interview me, which is going to be super fun. And I would love to know from all of you, if you have any questions, you can email them to info@nearlyenlightened.com and submit those questions. I will give them over to Dee, and she will try and integrate them best she can into our podcast, where the tables are turned. Instead of me interviewing her, she'll be interviewing me, which I think that would be a cool perspective to have, because it's weird sitting here talking to myself. And I think it'll be good to have that balance. Also under construction, my website has been under construction forever, and I am working on some really amazing things. So if you're not on my email list, if you do go to nearlyenlightened.com, you can sign up for my email list. So you will be in touch with me and you will know the minute that the website comes out. I'm working on some really cool things, and I'm excited to share with all of you all of these gifts. And if you're here in Arizona, I do have some in-person events coming up. So sign up for my emails. And if you're in the area, then you'll find out about those as well. This is going to be a short episode because those hot takes and unpopular opinions that's it. So if you haven't listened to the episodes in the past, this is a great opportunity to go back and to listen to those episodes. They have so many golden nuggets of information. It's truly like, I wanted to create something that when I started this journey actively, like that self would have wanted this information. So I'm so blessed to be able to share the guests that I've shared with this podcast and to highlight the amazing things that people on this planet are doing. If you are somebody who wants to be on this podcast, I would love to have a chat with you. So you can also reach out to info@nearlyenlightened.com, and I would be happy to have a conversation with you about you coming on. Like I said, I want to give people a platform for doing amazing work. And one of the things that every one of those guests that I've had on in the past has in common is they all say the same thing. I have no power to heal anyone. I'm doing this work for myself, and it's something that I really needed to share with the world. And I think that is such a beautiful place to be, because I believe, I guess I'm not done with hot takes and unpopular opinions, because here's another one. I believe that the age of the guru is dead, and that looking up to teachers in that way of like putting them on a pedestal, that's not the way it's supposed to be. That is, if you have a teacher that is giving that energy, I would advise you to look at that relationship and reevaluate it, because anyone who is teaching connection to body, mind, and spirit, they should be coming from a place of still doing this work actively, always working on themselves. And they just want to share with everyone to give you the tools to be empowered to make those changes yourself. because that power doesn't lie outside of you. It is within you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here today. It's just really a bunch of rambling thoughts. So thank you for bearing with me, and I will see you next week. Maybe with Deirdre, maybe with a new guest. We'll see what the universe has in store for us and what lessons will come through the Nearly Enlightened podcast. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you next week.